In the far reaches of the galaxy, where stars glimmered like scattered diamonds against the dark void, the Zetherian Empire ruled with iron precision. Their fleets, massive and powerful, patrolled countless systems, and their technology was considered the pinnacle of spacefaring civilization. The Zetherians believed that no species could challenge them, and for centuries, no one had. That confidence made them careless, and sometimes, arrogance invited surprises. On the outskirts of the Empire's territory, a small fleet monitored a quiet sector of unclaimed star systems. Admiral Zalor, a tall figure draped in the ceremonial robes of the Zetherian command, stared at his holographic display. The readings were confusing. A warship appeared on the sensors, moving at speeds that seemed impossible. Its energy signature did not match any known design, and its hull did not resemble any ship recorded in the Empire's extensive archives. Zalor's voice trembled slightly as he spoke into the comm panel. "Bring it up. Magnify all sensors. I want a full scan." The bridge crew worked quickly. The ship was sleek, silver, and compact, with a shape that was oddly familiar in some ways and completely alien in others. It wasn't large, certainly not the size of a destroyer or cruiser, but it radiated a kind of quiet power. Its engines pulsed with a rhythm that suggested efficiency beyond anything Zetherians had ever built. "Sir," the tactical officer reported, "the ship's energy output is fluctuating. Its propulsion system is unlike anything we've seen. Speed readings are inconsistent, yet it maintains perfect course without detectable thrusters." Zalor frowned. "Impossible. No species outside the Empire could construct a ship capable of this. Scan for origin everything." Now, the bridge fell silent as the systems tried to analyze the anomaly. Every calculation returned the same bewildering result. The ship was human. The word hung in the air, impossible and shocking. Humans were primitive, a species from a backwater cluster of stars that had never mastered faster-than-light travel at the scale necessary to threaten the Empire. The notion that a human warship could appear here, on the edge of Zetherian territory, was almost laughable. Yet there it was. Zalor's mind raced. The humans had been underestimated for centuries. They were clever, resilient, and surprisingly adaptable. But they had never displayed technology to rival a fleet of Zetherian destroyers. And yet, here was a single ship, moving with grace and speed that defied the laws of physics as the Empire knew them. "Open a channel," Zalor commanded. His hands shook slightly, though he tried to hide it. "Let's see what these humans are capable of. Perhaps we can negotiate." The communications officer hesitated, then activated the long-range transmitter. A few moments passed in silence before the screen flickered, revealing a figure standing on the bridge of the human ship. She was human, tall, and confident, with eyes that seemed to shine with intelligence and determination. Her uniform was practical, not ornate, but it carried a presence that demanded respect. "I am Captain Elena Reyes of the United Earth Coalition," she said calmly. "You have detected my ship. You are welcome to observe, but any hostile action will be met with an appropriate response." Zalor's jaw tightened. This human spoke with authority, as if he were the one being observed. The audacity was infuriating. The Zetherian Empire had never been challenged by humans in this way. They had always assumed humans were reactive, slow to adapt, and predictable. This one was neither. "Captain Reyes," Zalor said, trying to control his voice, "you are in Zetherian territory. Explain your presence immediately." Elena's expression did not change. "We are here to test the limits of our technology and to observe the stars. We are not seeking conflict, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Consider this your first warning. Underestimate us at your peril." A murmur of disbelief ran through the Zetherian bridge crew. Zalor felt a mix of anger and admiration. These humans had confidence, no, audacity that was almost unheard of. They were small, their numbers limited, yet their courage seemed infinite. "Sir," the tactical officer said cautiously, "the ship is accelerating. It's moving toward the outer rim at a speed beyond our intercept capabilities." Zalor slammed a clawed hand on the console. "Prepare to pursue." Deploy the destroyers. No ship leaves Zytherian space without our permission. Within minutes, 10 destroyers were launched, cutting through the vacuum of space like predatory birds. Their weapons were primed, their shields at maximum, and their pilots eager to confront this unknown human threat. Yet as they approached, the human ship executed maneuvers that defied all known physics. It darted through asteroid fields, slipping past sensors, and emerged behind enemy lines before anyone could react. Impossible, Xalor whispered. They should not be able to move like this. Even the crew of the destroyers was bewildered. Every attack they attempted was countered before it could land. The human ship fired brief, precise energy bursts that disabled engines and weapons without destroying the ships entirely. It was not mere combat skill, it was strategic brilliance, intuition, and adaptability, all rolled into one small vessel. Back on Valor, Captain Elena Reyes watched the Zytherian fleet through her view screen. "They are cautious, but curious," she said to her first officer. "They do not yet understand what they face. Keep them observing. Let them see human ingenuity in action, not in theory." Her crew worked in perfect synchronization, adjusting shields, recalibrating weapons, and executing maneuvers that pushed their ship to its absolute limits. They did not seek to destroy unnecessarily. Their goal was to demonstrate the capability of humans, to make the galaxy aware that humans could not be dismissed as primitive or weak. In the Zytherian Empire, news of the encounter spread quickly. Reports reached the Central Command, where the Emperor's advisors gathered to discuss this unprecedented situation. "A human warship has engaged the frontier fleet," one officer reported. "It is a single ship. It is small, but it has defeated 10 of our destroyers without sustaining serious damage. We do not understand its technology." The Emperor's face, pale and unyielding, betrayed the first hint of concern he had ever shown over human affairs. "Impossible," he said. "Humans are primitive. They are not capable of such feats," but evidence could not be ignored. Sensor readings, battle reports, and live communications confirmed what the frontier fleet had already experienced. Humans were capable of building technology that could rival the Empire itself. And more than that, they were capable of thinking, reacting, and adapting in ways the Empire had never anticipated. On Valor, Elena's crew continued their silent demonstration. They moved through the outer rim like shadows, avoiding unnecessary conflict while showcasing their technology and strategy. Every action sent a clear message to the Zytherians. Humans were not to be underestimated. Xalor's frustration grew. He had commanded fleets across the galaxy and seen countless enemies fall. Yet this single human ship defied everything he knew about warfare. It was faster, smarter, and more unpredictable than any enemy he had faced. He realized, with a mixture of fear and admiration, that humans were different, not merely in technology, but in spirit. Hours passed. The human ship remained elusive, a constant reminder to the Zytherians that their assumptions about humanity were wrong. Xalor could see it now. Humans thrived not because of raw strength, but because of ingenuity, courage, and the willingness to confront challenges others would avoid. By the time the human ship disappeared from the sector, the Empire was in shock. Fleet after fleet reported similar encounters. No humans were taken. No unnecessary destruction occurred, yet the impact was undeniable. The Zytherians had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans were not merely surviving, they were demonstrating mastery of a scale and quality that few believed possible. Back on the Bridge of Valor, Elena Reyes leaned back in her chair, allowing herself a small smile. The humans had made their first statement to the galaxy. They were small. Yes. They were few. Yes. But their courage, skill, and ingenuity had sent a message far louder than weapons ever could. "Prepare course for the next sector," she said. "We have shown them what humans can do. Now, let's see what else is out there." As the human warship vanished into the stars, the Zytherian Empire reeled from what they had witnessed. Their assumptions about human weakness were shattered. Their fleets, vast and powerful, had been bested by a single human vessel. And in that realization, A slow but growing fear began to take root. Humans were not what they seemed. They were far more than the galaxy had ever imagined. The legend had begun. Even now, in distant star systems, whispers would spread among Zetherian officers and civilians alike. That can't be a human warship. Is that possible? And the humans, small but brilliant, would continue their journey, ready to show the galaxy that underestimation was humanity's greatest mistake. The Zetherian Empire had never experienced such confusion. Fleet after fleet reported encounters with the human warship, Valor. And every report was nearly identical. A small ship, incredibly fast, precise in attack, and impossible to catch. Admiral Zalor, once confident and composed, now spent sleepless nights studying the reports, trying to understand how a single human vessel could consistently outmaneuver entire squadrons. They shouldn't be able to do this, Zalor muttered, scanning a holomap of recent encounters. We have the numbers, the technology, everything. Yet they slip through every trap we set. His officers exchanged uneasy glances. The humans weren't just avoiding destruction. They were demonstrating tactical skill and adaptability beyond anything the Empire had expected. Each engagement had been brief, calculated, and almost theatrical. Ships would fall one by one, not destroyed, but disabled, often without loss of life. The humans seemed to send a message with every move. We are here, and we are not weak. Meanwhile, aboard Valor, Captain Elena Reyes observed the approaching Zetherian fleet. The humans had purposefully advanced to the frontier of Empire-controlled space. This was not an attack, it was a demonstration. Each maneuver, each strike, each tactical adjustment was carefully designed to showcase human skill, ingenuity, and precision. Admiral, her first officer said, the fleet is moving to intercept. They are deploying their destroyers in formation. Elena nodded. Good. Let them come. But remember, we are not here to fight unnecessarily. Show them what humans can do, without causing more destruction than needed. The human crew worked seamlessly. Shields recalibrated continuously, energy weapons adjusted automatically for maximum efficiency, and propulsion systems allowed sudden bursts of speed or rapid directional shifts that left Zetherian sensors lagging. Every move the Empire made, the humans had anticipated, countered, or cleverly avoided. From the Zetherian perspective, it was as if the human ship anticipated their thoughts. Admiral Zalor tried every known tactic, from flanking maneuvers to overwhelming firepower, but the humans consistently adapted. One destroyer attempted to trap Valor between two fleets, but within seconds, the human ship reversed direction, fired a calculated energy burst that disabled both destroyers' propulsion systems and emerged unharmed. What is their technology? One officer asked, bewildered. These energy bursts. They are precise, adaptive. No weapons system in the Empire can respond like that. Zalor could only shake his head. It is not just their technology, it is them. The humans, they think differently. They do not act as we expect. They innovate, adapt, and anticipate in ways that defy logic. In the Empire's central command, news of the human encounters reached the Emperor. Advisors presented the reports with careful phrasing, trying not to alarm him. But even they could not hide the gravity of the situation. Your Majesty, an officer began. A single human warship has engaged multiple frontier fleets. They are small in number, yet they have outmaneuvered and disabled our vessels repeatedly. Our understanding of human capabilities is clearly incomplete. The Emperor's gaze was sharp and unyielding, yet the tension in the room was unmistakable. Incomplete? He asked slowly. Or underestimated. Humans have always been primitive. They cannot possibly possess such skills or technology, but the evidence spoke otherwise. Sensor logs, battle data, and communication intercepts proved that humans were no longer primitive. They were capable, adaptable, and extraordinarily intelligent. Their ingenuity rivaled that of Zetherian engineers, and their courage in the face of overwhelming odds stunned even the most battle-hardened officers. Back on Valor, Elena observed the Empire's maneuvers carefully. She knew the humans' advantage was not in sheer firepower, it was in unpredictability, in creativity, and in precise coordination. Each strike was calculated, each move carefully measured to demonstrate the capabilities of humanity without unnecessary destruction. "Bring us within visual range," Elena commanded. "Let them see us." As the humans approached, the Zetherian destroyers prepared for engagement. The Empire believed that visual intimidation and a show of force would finally subdue the humans. They were wrong. Valor glided into view, sleek and unthreatening in appearance, yet its presence was imposing. The human ship did not fire immediately. Instead, it maneuvered smoothly, demonstrating speed, agility, and calculated precision that left Zetherian captains in awe. "Impossible," Zalor said under his breath. "How can one ship do this?" The human strategy was simple yet brilliant. They did not overwhelm with brute force. They outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and outthought the enemy at every turn. Zetherian destroyers attempted to fire volleys of plasma energy, only for Valor to shift instantly, recalibrating its shields and dodging attacks with seemingly impossible reflexes. Then, in a series of swift movements, the human ship targeted weak points on the destroyer's systems, disabling engines, communications, and weapons with precise strikes. Each engagement left the Empire stunned. The humans were not reckless, they were methodical, deliberate, and strategic. Even when surrounded, they remained calm, assessing threats and responding with intelligence rather than brute force. Zalor's frustration grew. He had commanded battles across the galaxy, but he had never encountered an opponent who seemed to anticipate his every move. For the first time, he understood that humans were unpredictable, creative, and fearless. They did not follow patterns that could be exploited. They adapted continuously, thinking and reacting in ways that challenged the Empire's assumptions about warfare. Within Zetherian society, word of the human warship spread rapidly. Officers whispered in astonishment, civilians speculated with fear, and even scholars began to question long-held beliefs about humanity. The humans had shattered the Empire's confidence. A species once considered weak and primitive had demonstrated skill, courage, and intelligence far beyond what anyone expected. Elena and her crew continued their maneuvers, never striking unnecessarily, but always remaining one step ahead. They demonstrated that humans could not be underestimated. With every calculated move, they challenged the Empire's assumptions and showcased the potential of humanity on a galactic scale. Hours passed, and the Zetherian fleets were forced to retreat, not due to destruction, but because the humans had shown them that their attacks were ineffective. The human warship had not only survived encounters with superior forces but had left a lasting impression on the Empire. Humans were a force to be reckoned with. "Prepare for the next sector," Elena said to her first officer. "We have made our point here. Let's continue our journey." As Valor moved deeper into uncharted space, the Zetherians were left to regroup and reconsider their strategies. Humans were no longer an afterthought or a minor annoyance. They were intelligent, capable, and daring, a species that could not be ignored. Even now, the whispers continued across Zetherian colonies. "That can't be a human warship. Is that possible?" By the end of the day, the humans had achieved what no other species had done in centuries. They had demonstrated not only their technology, but their spirit, courage, and intellect. The Empire would never again consider humans insignificant. Aboard Valor, Elena allowed herself a small smile. The humans had shown the galaxy their capabilities, not through destruction, but through brilliance, precision, and courage. The message was clear. Humanity had arrived, and it would never again be underestimated. In the quiet of space, as stars glimmered around them, Valor continued its journey. Each crew member felt a sense of pride, not in victory, not in destruction, but in the demonstration of human potential. They had proven that with intelligence, courage, and adaptability, humans could face any challenge, no matter how impossible it seemed. The galaxy would remember this day, and the legend of the human warship would spread. Every fleet, every colony, every corner of the Zetherian Empire would whisper the same words. That can't be a human warship. Is that possible? And somewhere deep in space, Captain Elena Reyes plotted the next course. Humans had made their mark, but their journey was just beginning. The galaxy would soon learn that the strength of humanity lay not in numbers, but in spirit, creativity, and the unyielding will to survive and thrive. The humans had begun their legacy, and the Empire would never be the same again. The Zetherian Empire could no longer ignore the humans. Reports from the frontier fleets had grown urgent, almost panicked. One ship alone, the human warship Valor, had repeatedly outmaneuvered entire squadrons, disabling destroyers with precision strikes and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. The Empire's leadership realized that the humans were no ordinary threat. They were unpredictable, intelligent, and extraordinarily skilled. Admiral Zalor, who had once dismissed humans as primitive, now stood in his flagship's command chamber, eyes fixed on the holomap displaying the positions of his fleet. His massive warship, the Dread Sovereign, was the pride of the Zetherian Empire. Its weapons were the most advanced in known space, its shields nearly impenetrable, and its engines capable of speeds that dwarfed anything humans were supposed to possess. Yet Zalor felt a twinge of doubt he had never known in his career. "Prepare all systems," Zalor commanded, his voice steady despite the unease creeping into his mind. "This human ship will be stopped. Deploy the fleet in full formation, and do not underestimate them." Every officer on the Dread Sovereign worked with urgency. The flagship's energy cannons hummed with power, shield generators glowed with intensity, and fighter squadrons readied themselves for rapid deployment. Zalor knew that brute force alone might not be enough. Humans were clever, but he believed that the sheer size and firepower of the Dread Sovereign could overwhelm even the smartest adversary. Far ahead, Valor glided through space, sensors scanning the sector. Captain Elena Reyes studied the approaching Zetherian fleet with calm determination. She knew the Empire would send its strongest vessel, and this would be the ultimate test of human skill, teamwork, and strategy. "Admiral," her first officer said, "they've dispatched a massive flagship. The Dread Sovereign is moving to intercept." Elena nodded. "Good. Let's show them what humans can do when they face the impossible." Her crew immediately began preparing the ship. Energy shields were reinforced, weapons recalibrated, and propulsion systems primed for sudden bursts of speed and unexpected maneuvers. Every system was checked, every crew member ready for the challenge ahead. Unlike the Empire, the humans relied not on overwhelming power, but on adaptability, precision, and teamwork. As the distance closed between the two ships, the humans executed a series of calculated maneuvers, weaving through asteroid fields and utilizing gravitational pulls to their advantage. The Dread Sovereign fired its first volleys of energy beams, attempting to strike the smaller ship before it could maneuver. Valor moved with astonishing speed. Shields absorbed the blasts, while the ship's adaptive energy systems recalibrated mid-battle. Every Zetherian attack seemed to anticipate the humans' position, but Valor was never where the Empire expected it to be. Zalor's frustration mounted. "Target their propulsion! Disable that ship!" he roared. The human crew anticipated this. Elena ordered a diversion. A sudden burst of speed sent Valor spinning around a nearby asteroid, evading the flagship's targeting systems. At the same time, a concentrated energy pulse hit the flagship's forward weapons, temporarily disabling several cannons. The Dread Sovereign staggered under the unexpected counterattack. "This is impossible," Zalor muttered. "No species should be able to think, adapt, and react this fast." But the humans were not relying on brute force, they relied on intellect. Every move, every maneuver, was calculated to maximize efficiency while minimizing unnecessary damage. They were proving that humans could not only survive against superior forces but could also outsmart them. As the battle continued, smaller Zetherian vessels attempted to flank Valor, hoping to trap it between overwhelming numbers. Elena anticipated this strategy and executed a daring countermove. She guided Valor through the center of the fleet, using enemy ships as cover, while her energy beams disabled key components of each vessel she passed. The human strategy was not reckless. It was precise, calculated, and highly effective. By the time the flagship realized what had happened, half of its supporting destroyers were disabled or forced to retreat. The humans had turned the fleet against itself without firing a single destructive barrage at the core of the Empire. Zalor could hardly believe his eyes. How is one human ship doing this? He whispered. His officers exchanged grim looks, understanding for the first time that underestimating humans had been a fatal mistake. Meanwhile, aboard Valor, Elena's crew worked with seamless coordination. Every crew member knew their role, adjusted their actions in real time, and executed complex maneuvers without hesitation. It was a dance of precision and intellect, showing the Empire that humans were not only capable but exceptional. "Prepare for energy pulse," Elena commanded. "Target their main shield generators. Minimal force, disable, not destroy." The human energy beams struck the flagship's shields with pinpoint accuracy. Instead of destroying the ship, the beams caused temporary malfunctions in the defensive arrays, leaving the Dread Sovereign vulnerable to tactical maneuvers. The humans exploited these openings immediately, weaving through the flagship's defenses while avoiding direct confrontation. The Zetherians were stunned. Their most powerful vessel, capable of decimating entire fleets, was struggling against a single human ship. Zalor's confidence began to erode, replaced by a deep, gnawing fear. "They are different," he admitted to himself. "Not just technology. They are thinking, reacting, and adapting in ways we cannot predict." The humans did not celebrate as they maneuvered. Their goal was not destruction, it was demonstration. Every movement, every calculated strike, showed the Empire that humans were capable of far more than their small size and limited numbers suggested. Hours passed in a tense cat-and-mouse game. The humans consistently outmaneuvered the flagship, using speed, precision, and strategy to disable weapons, engines, and communication systems. The Dread Sovereign fired its massive cannons repeatedly, but Valor never presented the same target twice. Finally, in a daring final maneuver, Elena guided the human ship close enough to the flagship to deliver a concentrated energy pulse at the core shield generators, just enough to temporarily paralyze the defensive systems. The flagship staggered under the effect, and Zalor realized that he had underestimated humanity in every possible way. "Signal them," Zalor commanded reluctantly. "Cease pursuit, retreat, and regroup." Even now, he could not fully comprehend the humans' capabilities. One small warship had outsmarted the Empire's most advanced vessel, using intellect, coordination, and courage, rather than sheer destructive power. For the first time, Zalor feared the implications. If humans could continue to innovate and adapt at this pace, the Empire itself could be challenged. On Valor, the crew remained focused. They had proven their point, but they were not finished. Humans were explorers, innovators, and survivors. They would continue to demonstrate their capabilities, but always with purpose and intelligence, never recklessly. As Valor retreated from the battlefield, the Empire's forces watched in awe. They had survived, but they had been humbled. Humans were no longer a minor threat. They were a species that demanded respect, caution, and reconsideration. Across the galaxy, news of the encounter spread. Word of the human warship's victory over the flagship became legend. In every corner of the Empire, officers whispered in disbelief, "That can't be a human warship. Is that possible?" Even scholars and strategists who had dismissed humanity for centuries began to rethink their assumptions. Humans were clever, adaptable, and fearless. They were capable of thinking creatively under pressure, turning disadvantages into opportunities, and challenging forces far superior in number and technology. Aboard Valor, Elena's crew finally allowed themselves a brief moment of relief. They had faced the Empire's strongest vessel and demonstrated humanity's unique strengths: intellect, courage, and teamwork. They had proven that humans were capable not only of surviving but of excelling in situations that seemed impossible. Elena gazed out at the stars, her mind already planning the next leg of their journey. Humans had made their mark on the galaxy, and their legacy was only beginning. The Zetherian Empire had learned a lesson it would not forget. To underestimate humanity was to invite failure. In the quiet of space, Valor glided onward, a symbol of human ingenuity and spirit. The galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. A small human crew, using skill, intelligence, and bravery, had overcome an overwhelmingly powerful opponent. The legend would grow, and the story of humans would spread far and wide. And everywhere the tale reached, the same question would be asked with disbelief and awe. That can't be a human warship. Is that possible? Humanity had proven itself once again. They had faced the impossible, adapted, and emerged victorious not through raw power, but through cleverness, courage, and unwavering determination. And as Valor continued into the unknown, the galaxy knew that humans were a force that could not be ignored. The Empire would never forget this encounter, and the humans would never stop demonstrating what their species could achieve. The stars were theirs to explore, to challenge, and to conquer not through domination, but through brilliance, creativity, and the relentless will to survive. And so, the humans sailed onward, leaving the Zetherians to rethink everything they had ever known about one of the galaxy's most underestimated species. The battle with the Dread Sovereign had shaken the Zetherian Empire to its core. News of the human warship, Valor, and its remarkable victory over the Empire's most powerful vessel spread quickly. Officers and citizens alike whispered in disbelief. One small human ship had outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and outperformed the Zetherian fleet. The Empire had always assumed humans were primitive, predictable, and weak. Now, their arrogance had been shattered, replaced by a growing fear and a grudging respect. Admiral Zalor sat in his command chamber, staring at the holographic projection of the human ship. Every report he received made him more aware of one undeniable fact. Humans were different. Their strength was not in size, numbers, or overwhelming firepower, but in creativity, intelligence, and adaptability. Every encounter had shown that they could think, react, and innovate faster than any Zetherian fleet. "We must reconsider our approach," Zalor admitted to his officers. "We cannot treat humans as a minor threat. They are capable of challenging our fleets, outthinking our strategies, and surviving in situations no other species could." The officers nodded in agreement, some with fear, others with awe. The humans were unlike anything they had encountered. Even their most advanced sensors had failed to fully anticipate the ship's movements. Their energy weapons had adapted in real time, shields had adjusted flawlessly, and their tactical decisions had consistently exploited weaknesses in the Zetherian formations. Far away, in the depths of space, Valor glided silently, its crew calm but alert. Captain Elena Reyes understood the effect they had on the Empire. Humans had made their presence known not through overwhelming force but through intelligence and precision. They had sent a clear message. Humanity could not be underestimated. "Admiral," the first officer said, "reports indicate the Empire is reassessing their fleets. They are withdrawing forces from several sectors, and commanders are advising caution when approaching human space." Elena nodded. "Good. Let them think. We have proven what humans can do. Now, it is up to them to adjust." Her crew smiled quietly, proud of what they had accomplished. Every maneuver, every strike, and every calculated decision had demonstrated human ingenuity, teamwork, and courage. The humans had faced impossible odds, adapted, and emerged not only unscathed but victorious. Back in the Empire, the Central Command was in chaos. Strategists pored over battle reports, trying to understand how a species previously considered insignificant could consistently outmaneuver their fleets. Scholars debated the humans' capabilities, while officers argued over the best approach to contain this unpredictable species. The consensus was clear. Humans were not to be underestimated. The Emperor himself had summoned a council of his most trusted advisors. "Humans are changing the balance of power in our galaxy," he said slowly. One ship has bested our most advanced vessel. If they can do this once, what else might they achieve? An advisor spoke cautiously. Your Majesty, we have never encountered a species capable of such adaptation. Humans combine creativity, intelligence, and courage in a way no other species does. We may have misjudged them entirely. The Emperor's gaze was sharp. Then we must act wisely. Any rash decision could provoke them further, but we cannot ignore them. Humans are no longer a minor inconvenience. They are a force that demands respect and caution. Meanwhile, Valor continued its journey through the galaxy, exploring systems that had never been charted by any species. Each new encounter reinforced what humans had already shown. Their species thrived on creativity, adaptability, and the ability to overcome impossible challenges. In one remote system, a massive asteroid field blocked a critical passage. Many species would have avoided it, deeming it too dangerous to navigate. But humans saw opportunity where others saw obstacles. Elena directed the ship through the dense field, using its irregular gravity and asteroid movements to mask their approach. Every crew member worked in perfect coordination, guiding the ship with precision and using the environment to their advantage. The humans' actions were not reckless. They were calculated, intelligent, and highly effective. They navigated dangers with skill, adapted to unexpected hazards, and demonstrated ingenuity that left even the most advanced sensors struggling to track them. As word of these achievements spread across the galaxy, humans began to acquire a reputation unlike any other species. Tales of a small, agile warship capable of evading entire fleets, outsmarting the Empire's most advanced vessels, and navigating impossible hazards circulated quickly. The humans were becoming legends, not through conquest, but through skill, courage, and intelligence. In the Empire, Admiral Zalor found himself reflecting on what he had witnessed. The humans' advantage was not in size or strength, it was in the mind, in their ability to think creatively and adapt in ways no other species could. They had redefined what it meant to be a warrior in space. They are extraordinary, he admitted quietly to his officers. Their ships are small, their numbers few, but they possess something we do not fully understand: ingenuity, courage, and the will to survive against all odds. Zalor's words spread through the Empire, igniting a mix of fear and admiration. Humans had proven that the galaxy could not dictate limits on a species' potential. Even the most powerful fleets could be outmaneuvered by intelligence and courage. On Valor, the crew prepared for their next challenge. They did not seek conflict unnecessarily, but they knew the galaxy would continue to test them. Humans were explorers, scientists, and warriors. They thrived on challenges and never shied away from danger. Each mission, each journey, each encounter was an opportunity to demonstrate what humanity could achieve. As they approached a previously uncharted nebula, Elena gathered her crew. "We have shown the Empire what humans are capable of," she said, "but there is much more to learn, much more to explore. Our journey is just beginning. Remember, our strength lies not in size or weapons, but in our minds, our courage, and our ability to adapt. Humanity will continue to shine, no matter the challenge." Her words resonated with the crew. Each member felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humans had faced impossible odds, challenged the mightiest empire in the galaxy, and emerged stronger. They had proven that their species could thrive where others would fail, not through brute force, but through intelligence, teamwork, and relentless determination. The humans' reputation continued to grow. Across the Empire, in colonies and fleets, species began to whisper the same phrase with awe and disbelief. "That can't be a human warship. Is that possible?" Even those who had once dismissed humans now regarded them with respect. Scholars studied their tactics, strategists analyzed their maneuvers, and commanders reconsidered how to engage them. The humans had changed the galaxy's perception of their species forever. Meanwhile, Valor continued its voyage through the stars, exploring systems, mapping new worlds, and seeking knowledge. The human crew faced dangers, navigated hazards, and encountered mysteries of space, But they did so with courage and intelligence. Every mission reinforced their growing legend, demonstrating that humanity's greatest strength lay not in physical power, but in the mind, the spirit, and the will to survive and thrive against any challenge. As they passed through a vibrant nebula, Captain Elena Reyes looked out at the swirling colors of gas and dust, reflecting on how far humanity had come. From a small, underestimated species on a tiny planet, humans had now made their mark on the galaxy. They had proven that courage, intelligence, and adaptability could overcome even the most powerful forces in existence. "Prepare course for the next system," Elena said. "Our journey continues." Her crew nodded, ready for whatever lay ahead. Humans had become a symbol of ingenuity, resilience, and courage. They had shown the galaxy that their species could rise above challenges, outthink stronger opponents, and leave a lasting impact on every civilization they encountered. In the Zetherian Empire, fleets and commanders continued to reassess their strategies. They had learned a lesson that could not be forgotten. Humans were not to be underestimated. They were a force that combined intellect, courage, and adaptability, capable of achieving feats no other species could imagine. And across the galaxy, whispers of the human warship persisted, spreading from system to system, fleet to fleet. "That can't be a human warship. Is that possible?" The humans had left their mark. The Empire had been humbled, not by destruction, but by ingenuity and bravery. Humanity's legacy was beginning to take shape, not as conquerors, but as a species that inspired respect, awe, and sometimes fear. They had proven that size, numbers, or power alone did not define strength. True strength lay in courage, intelligence, and the will to rise above impossible odds. Valor continued its voyage into the unknown, a shining example of human potential. The crew knew that challenges awaited them, that dangers lurked in uncharted systems, and that the galaxy would continue to test them. But humans thrived on challenges. They adapted, they learned, and they persevered. And wherever they went, their legend grew, leaving an indelible mark on the galaxy. The story of the human warship, its crew, and the ingenuity of their species would be remembered for generations. Every fleet, every commander, and every civilization would come to understand one undeniable truth. Humanity could not be dismissed, underestimated, or ignored. And somewhere in the stars, valor sailed onward, carrying with it the enduring message of humanity's greatness. The Empire, the galaxy, and countless civilizations would remember this day. And one question would echo through space for years to come. "That can't be a human warship. Is that possible?" Humans had proven themselves. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious, not through overwhelming power, but through brilliance, teamwork, and courage. The galaxy had learned that humanity was extraordinary, and the legend of the human warship was only beginning.